Hi everybody, welcome to It Gets Faster Now TV. My name is Antti and on this video I'm going to tell you about the route of Rally Mexico 2023. First of all, thanks for all the good comments on Rally Sweden video. It's nice to hear that you have enjoyed watching the videos, so I try to make more of them if only I have time, but for now I'm doing the Mexico video. Another thing worth mentioning is that I have now opened this donate page on It Gets Faster Now. You know, I've been doing the blog for 5 years and it's been completely free and everything will still be completely free, but now you can also donate if you want to support me in doing this. I'll appreciate even small amounts. Anyway, back to Rally Mexico. Mexico is back after 2 years off. The last time we had Rally Mexico was 2020 when the COVID-19 started breaking out, and actually the Sunday of the rally had to be cancelled because the teams wanted to get home because the world was shutting down on Monday. So it was kind of weird to think back to those days and how different the world was at the time. Anyway, Rally Mexico is not that different. A lot of the route hasn't changed at all in the years. If we look at the first edition in 2004, the map is not that much different. It's the same area and much of the same roads. But of course, something has changed every year, but like the core of the route has been the same and in the same area. If you want to put Rally Mexico in a nutshell, it's like a technical gravel rally with quite smooth roads, but with a layer of loose gravel, which makes the road opening really difficult. And the stages are located in pretty high altitudes. For example, this one is like over 2 kilometers above sea level. And when you go to those altitudes, there's low levels of oxygen and that affects the combustion engines. So they have less power, but now with the hybrid cars, they will have the electric boost, which will not suffer from the altitude. But of course, it will be an endurance element of how will the hybrid element survive in the conditions of Mexico, because it's a pretty tough event usually for the cars. There's a lot of tight corners, uphill and downhill, and it puts the strain on the engines, brakes, diffs, and suspension. And in addition, although the roads are not that rough, but there could be some big stones on the sides and sometimes they get pulled onto the road, we could also see some punctures as well. And the third characteristic thing about Rally Mexico is that the real stages are located basically in some sort of desert, but we have a lot of super specials. And for example, this year we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 super specials, so that's likely going to be the record of the whole year. Most rallies have 1 or maybe 2 super specials, but Mexico has 8 super special stage runs. Actually, there's like 3 different stages, but one of them is driven 4 times and the other ones twice. And 23 stages in total. Like I said, 8 of them are super specials and 320 kilometers, so it's a pretty nice length. Let's start with the Shakedown. This stage called Llano Grande. Oh, I hope my pronunciation is not totally off. Anyway, this Shakedown has remained quite similar, except for the first corner, and the start of the stage will now be in a different place than before, but it's not that much of a difference. It's a pretty good stage. It represents the conditions of the rally. And there's like some narrow technical things and some faster passages, and then the last section is on a wider road. So that's like Rally Mexico in a nutshell. The actual rally is starting on this street stage of Guanajuato, and it's a pretty classic stage. The first time it was run was back in 2011, and the route hasn't really changed much. The only different version was 2018 when they kind of used longer part of the tunnel from here, and then they went to this roundabout and came back. But now it's just a simple version. Basically, they enter the tunnel right after the first corner, and then they come out, and there's like only a couple of corners on the whole stage, and then just this roundabout I think it's done twice, and then the ending is here. In 2019, we had the silly ramp jump here at the end of the stage, but the whole stage was cancelled because I think it went broken because it went out of place, so they had to cancel the whole stage. But I mean, it's a pretty silly stage for being so short and having so little corners, but it's a pretty nice opening for the rally, and there's like a lot of people turn out every time, so I would say it does its job really well. And now we get 2 passes within like 23-minute intervals, so I think the top cars will do it first once and then twice, and then the lower classes will do it afterwards, I suppose. Okay, then we go to Friday stages. The real stuff begins, and Friday has 128 kilometers, so that's a pretty solid amount of stage kilometers. I think we should look at stages 3 and 4, El Chocolate and Ortega, together, because they used to be the same stage when El Chocolate was a longer stage. It was up to 54 kilometers in 2016 and 17, and over 40 kilometers in 2014 and 15. But basically these stages were merged together, and since 2018 they have been run separately. And it's actually interesting because these stages are so different in character. El Chocolate is a really technical stage, and there's a lot of rhythm changes. It goes all the time from like fast to slow, wide to narrow, and straightforward to technical. And there's a lot of these little changes and a lot of hairpins and twisty stuff. It's a really, really tough stage. Meanwhile, Ortega is like a really fast flowing stage, and it's likely the fastest stage of the rally. But El Chocolate has a lot of these changes and a lot of uphill and downhill, and these 2 stages are also the highest elevated stages of the rally, or actually I think Ortega is even higher. It's all from 2400 to 2700, so actually there's not that much of elevation during the stage compared to El Chocolate, which goes multiple times up and down and up. So that's a pretty tough opening pair for the rally. And then we still have Las Minas, and this was the power stage in 2018 and 2019. And it's a pretty typical Rally Mexico stage in the sense that it has a lot of rhythm changes. Most of it is like you have these fast flowing open sections, and then you have this twisty stuff in the middle. And at the end, it gets a bit narrower and more technical, and then the final few hundred kilometers are driven on tarmac and some cobblestones. And we remember that in 2018 there was this chicane somewhere in here, and we had this big issue with the chicane when Sebastian Ogier knocked down the chicane and got some time penalty for it. And the next year the chicane was gone, and it's not there this year either. But yeah, all these 3 stages are basically the same as in 2020, except for Ortega, which has just a small bit cut from the beginning. So these stages will be well familiar to the drivers. And then we go to the super specials, and these are new stages or heavily updated stages, and these are looking really exciting, I would say. So first of all, we have this Las Dunas, which is a completely new stage. If I change to the satellite image, you see that it's in some sort of mining area. You have a lot of these small gravel roads, and the stage weaves around the area. And there's not much of typical super special elements visible. No donuts and no tarmac, no streets, no double twin track stage. It's just almost like a short normal desert stage, and this stage was used in the rally when it was off the WRC. They run first this Rally Guanajuato in 2021 and the Rally of Nations last year, and I think we have some video from those events so we can see what kind of stage this will be, although the routes are different, but the main character will remain the same. So it will be a pretty nice stage, and it's driven a total of 4 times in the rally. First on Friday evening, and then Saturday midday, Saturday evening, and Sunday morning. Then we have another updated stage, Distrito Leon, and this is actually partly the same as we had the street stage Leon, which was basically happening only inside this area, which has this like tent under this roof, some silly jumps and donuts and things like that, and bits on these streets. But now only the beginning is in the tent, and then we go to this parking area, which has also been used some years before. But you go to this parking area, and then the interesting thing is that we have this park section which hasn't been used before. These are cobblestones in the park, and this is almost like the RAC Rally Mickey Mouse stages. This is like really interesting. And the challenge is that you have like these 3 different sections, and they are all tied together with the streets. You have also some corners and junction turns on the street, so that makes it a really nice, super special. I'm really looking forward to this. Okay, then Saturday, and almost the same amount of stage kilometers, 128. And first of all, we have Ibarrilla, and this stage hasn't been used in a while. The last time was 2016 in the opposite direction, and the last time in this direction was 2015, but some of the roads have been used since, like for example this 2017 Media Luna stage used the beginning, and La Calera used the ending, and also the Guanajuato stage has used the ending in the 3 previous years. But basically the beginning is wide and fast, really fast section. Here we have some technical passage, and then another fast passage, and then the ending is thoroughly technical, and it gets a bit more narrow somewhere here. So it's a pretty straightforward stage in terms of rhythm changes. First it's fast, and then it's technical. Most of the stages will have more like different parts. Then we have a new stage title, El Mosquito, but I don't know why they have done this, because it's like really familiar route from the stages Alfaro and Otates, especially the 2019 Alfaro stage, which was run only once on Sunday, is basically almost exactly the same. Only a short bit is missing from the beginning, but otherwise it's quite much the same. And first we have a fast section, and then another technical passage that goes like down and up through these hairpin bends, and then we go on this road that is basically fast but has some tight corners every now and then we go to this technical section and a really narrow technical section, and then finally the ending is a bit wider, and there's this cobblestone corner here where we had Chris Meek going off the road in 2018. So there will be some challenges on this stage as well. One of the most technical stages, I would guess. And then the third main stage, Derramadero, which is one of the best known stages of the rally. In the latest years, it has been run in a shorter format with the title El Brinco. Although the Derramadero name was used in 2020, yeah. Basically the same stage as 2020, yeah. The beginning of the stage has like fast sections, and then some tight corners, and then some fast sections, and then it gets a bit more technical here. And the ending is something that was introduced in 2019 when some of these roads here were damaged in some floods or something, and they couldn't use these roads anymore, which has the original El Brinco jump. And I think the place where we had Chris Meek going off like into the car park was somewhere here, we cannot have those moments anymore because they have now added this new section, and this is like the smallest road of the whole rally. It's quite similar to what Sardinia has sometimes. It's really soft and narrow, and it goes up and down, and then it goes onto this road, and here they have added this artificial jump. They got the idea from Rally Finland, who made this artificial jump into the end of Ruuhimäki in 2018, and already the next year Rally Mexico had used the same idea for this jump, but I don't think they have implemented it as well because the jump doesn't seem so spectacular or natural. In Finland, in Ruuhimäki, they can just go flat out, but in here they have to brake a lot, and the jump is really short, and the landing looks like pretty awkward to me. Anyway, that's Saturday done, and then we have Sunday, which is pretty long, 61 kilometers, and if we look at the stage titles, these are all single runs. Wow, that's cool, but then again, most of these stages have shared sections with the Saturday stages. So, for example, Otates shares the first half with El Mosquito. The beginning will be driven 3 times, and then the ending will be driven just once. So the grip change will be massive when this part will be cleaned on the day before, and this will be with loose gravel. But this section here is new to the drivers because it has been used only once in 2004. Also worth mentioning is that these Sunday stages were supposed to be driven in 2020, but they weren't used because the whole day was cancelled. So this section remains still new to the drivers. Only used once in 2004, and then the final part, the final 9 kilometers have been used in the latest years, so there will be some old pace notes to use. Then we have San Diego, and this will actually use some of the Derramadero beginning, but in the opposite direction. So this is the Saturday Derramadero beginning, and this is the San Diego beginning into the opposite direction, and then it will proceed here onto some, I think this is quite technical, the ending, but once again, this is something that hasn't been used in a while, only once in 2011 on the Comangilla stage. And then we have El Brinco power stage, and most of it is shared with Saturday's Derramadero. Only the first 1.5 kilometers is new, and actually it has never been used. It's a sort of uphill section, so the rally will conclude on this artificial jump. So that's Rally Mexico. Quite familiar stuff, but really nice updates on the super specials. Although it's worth mentioning that the Rally Mexico used to have the Autodromo de Leon twin car circuit stage, and that's now dropped completely. And also in 2020 they had a new version of street stage Leon, which was notoriously short. It was like the shortest WRC stage ever, only 730 meters. You can see it here. It's like donut, 90 left, donut, and 390 lefts, and that's it. And this is not used anymore. And let's see how Rally Mexico turns out. Let's keep in touch and read the blog and follow the channel. And thanks for watching, and enjoy Rally Mexico, and see you in the next video. Bye.